Welcome to Around the Blockchain. Today we're talking about this insane Bitcoin price action we've had over the last couple weeks. Also going to be talking about some issues that are happening all over the space with altcoins. Also, some are exploding, but in good ways. And then we're going to be talking about one of my favorite topics here, and that is, of course, the Bored Ape ecosystem and the Dookie Pass. What am I talking about? You're going to have to stay tuned to learn more about that one. It's going to be a great episode. We got some great guests. I'm going to start on the top right. My favorite farmer, and I'm not talking about unsustainable yield. I'm talking about Jayson Casper, one of the best traders in the space. I put him in my top 3 for sure. On the bottom right, we have Miss Teen Crypto holding it down. One of the best accounts if you want to introduce somebody into crypto and why they should believe in Bitcoin. Great resource there. Also, we have Joe Parys with the green background. Is he feeling bullish? I don't know. He might have some micro caps for us. I know he's one of my favorite hunters of the Binance Smart Chain. And then slowly turning into one of my favorite Twitter accounts, it is Caleb Franzen. Always dropping really good knowledge bombs, Caleb. Although, let me ask you this, Caleb. Do you ever feel you tweet something out and you're like, should I dumb this down?
Yeah, I tried. That's a good question, man. We'll see.
All right. Maybe we'll pull up your Twitter later, but I tell you what, we will pull up. Let's pull up my Twitter because we're talking about Bitcoin's price action here. And I made this tweet, and I'm not saying I called the bottom. I may have called a bottom, though, as some of the Moon boys like to say. Feeling better. This is what I tweeted yesterday. Feeling better about my 2-month-old prediction, giving Bitcoin's low. When I made this tweet, Bitcoin was 15,900, so right there at the low. For a little reference, I did call the November 21 top within 10 days, a year in advance. Where was I getting all this crazy data? Was I talking to a gypsy? Did I step on some talisman and a spirit came out? No, I'm just looking at the 4-year cycle here. Mid 2018, the previous market cycle low, we bottomed 363 days after all-time high. Then when I made this tweet, 369 days after all-time high. 514 days before the next halving. When I made this tweet, 525 days before the next halving. And not only that, we pretty much the same timeline in 2015. I pulled up some 2015 data here. We were always 52 weeks after all-time high. 2015, it ended up being 58 weeks. So we're looking at 3 cycles of data where things just keep repeating and keep repeating and keep repeating. Caleb, what are your thoughts on the 4-year cycle, the strength of the 4-year cycle in relation to notably macroeconomic news? I mean, can the macroeconomic news nullify what we've seen essentially over the last 3 cycles?
Yeah, for sure. It definitely can, right? And 2022 was somewhat of a lesson within that. And so, the funny thing about a lot of technical analysis or time frame analysis is if enough people are focused on it and have it on their radar, a lot of technical analysis can kind of become somewhat of a self-fulfilling prophecy, right? So if everyone's watching a certain level and then we break above it, historically within a bull market, that's typically a bullish sign. And so if everyone is aware of that, it kind of feeds into that same kind of bullish narrative. And so it's certainly the case that the 4-year cycle could kind of be interpreted in a similar fashion, right? And so with something like Bitcoin specifically, there's actual like mathematics and code and engineering and architecture behind that 4-year system, simply just because of the halving cycle. And so as more and more people kind of get onboarded into the Bitcoin ecosystem and really start to understand the fundamental investment thesis, it's really clear to understand that the halving cycle is essentially just built-in design for increasing scarcity over time. And, I have a bachelor's degree in economics. If something is becoming increasingly more scarce over time and you have exponential adoption over time, the price of that asset is going to go up. And so typically the 4-year halving cycle is something that early Bitcoiners learn about and gets them really excited about Bitcoin as an asset and as a monetary network. And so as more people get onboarded into that, they start to front run that process because they start to understand that incoming supply is getting decreased by half every 4 years. So that's kind of my thought process there. And so typically what we see is that The further we go into the adoption curve, the sooner that 4-year, the sooner that investors start front running that 4-year cycle, if you will.
I'm glad you brought up investors front running, and you brought up traders, because a lot of I'm seeing some data on some macro timescales. Jayson, you're one of the top traders I look at, when it comes to certain levels, and I believe we're starting to maybe manifest a bottom when we're looking at some of the larger time frames, namely the weekly. What is on a macro level? You're looking at Bitcoin. I mean, is it looking like a potential bottom? Not saying this is the bottom, but are you seeing a slight reversal on the macro here?
Well, DZ, I'm actually very bullish. I'm more bullish than I've been in a very long time. And before people say, "Oh, you're just bullish because we got a big pump," we actually have to look at the chart, because I'm a big proponent of trading what the chart actually is telling us. And when we take a look at the weekly time frame, we can see that for the first time
That is a
since
big
November
weekly
11th.
candle. I'm sorry to cut you off. When is the last time we've seen
Yeah.
a weekly candle that large?
So the last time we actually saw a weekly candle this large was February 2021, and that was a 25% move on
All
Coinbase.
right, this wasn't planned.
Last,
I don't know. That was weird that you already had that up there. That's kind of odd.
I've
I
been,
swear to God, folks, this wasn't planned.
yeah, it seems scripted, right? But no, I've been paying attention to this because this is very, very significant that we had this massively bullish candle, and we have literally just put in a new higher high on the weekly time frame. We have not done this since November 11th, and the target of this pattern right here is 30K. And what is very interesting, when we take a look at the volume, I don't know, can you see the volume on my screen right now? Look at this.
Slightly. Yeah, we see it on the right side for sure.
Yeah, you can see how high the volume is on this breakout right here. And something else that we have on the chart, which is very, very interesting, is if we take a look at the monthly time frame. Okay, we are actually printing, if we turn on Market Cipher B here, we are printing a green dot on the monthly time frame below the zero line, which we have not done since April of 2019, which was basically the relief rally of the bear market before we put in the lower high and then bottomed out. So I'm honestly expecting to move up to $30,000. By the way, I gave the setup in advance in my Discord from 16.10, and that's a juicy trade. I'm actually able to pay the bills for literally like 4 months because of that. So that's a blessing. But um, the only thing that gives me caution right now, DZ, is this. Okay, we have a very interesting resistance just above us. This is a trend line. Basically, what's either going to happen here is we have a value area high, we have a golden pocket, we have a 786, and this trend line right here at about 23K. If we reject from here, that could give us another lower low. But if we break out, this could actually be a bump and run pattern, which is a very bullish pattern, which potentially could eventually lead to all-time highs. Doesn't mean we're going to start the bull market before the halving. But when we look back at the previous last time we got the green dot in the monthly time frame here, it wasn't necessarily straight into the bull market, but it was a significant relief rally. So that's very interesting. So guys on the golden pocket, the 786, because in the past when we come up to the 786, if we're getting bullish, bearish divergences on Market Cipher B, like we're seeing right down here, it could lead to a rejection, like what you're seeing right here.
I promise you, I swear to you, I was actually going to say after all this, it's serious. Jayson's, looking for opportunities when he doesn't have any kind of meme picture up. And then you didn't disappoint, Jayson. You didn't disappoint. You had me going down the path of, oh my God, he's, just straight TA. But no, you had to put the Jayson spin on it, and that's why we love it. Miss Teen Crypto, I'm starting to feel bullish. I'm feeling bullish. I wanted to pull up my other tweet from my thread on November 14th. It was just me throwing a little caution out the wind, similar to what Jayson's saying, let's not break out the champagne bottles just yet. This is a long and boring process. Last bottom to peak cycle took 1,060 days, right under 3 years. So we go down very sharply for 12 months, and then essentially next 36 months, kind of just up and to the right. Mostly boring, and then it gets exciting. Miss Teen Crypto, are you feeling like maybe we're starting this 1,060-day cycle? Are you starting to feel a little bit bullish? And have you changed the DCA strategies? Is now the time to maybe switch to ramen?
DZ, I'm always bullish on Bitcoin. I'm always bullish on the space as a whole. I've always been that way since 2020. Even if you look at when I started my Twitter account, April 2020, Bitcoin was around 7 grand at that time. So if you've been following me this whole way through, you're technically still in profit. However, I am always bullish on crypto. Even there was a new statistic over 7 days, there's been more than $3.4 billion in Bitcoin that's been removed from exchanges since November 7th. This is a dramatic amount of money. People are taking their crypto off of the exchanges. They want to self-custody their crypto. In my mind, that's less selling pressure. Those are less people that are saying, hey, I'm going to trade this crypto, and more like I want to keep it. I think a lot more people are wanting to get into this space. And again, I stress this so much. Big money has been coming into the crypto space this entire bear market. El Salvador still buying crypto, now has Bitcoin backed bonds. Countless big actors like HSBC, Fidelity filing NFT and metaverse trademarks. There's so much money coming into this space that why wouldn't you be bullish? Even if you look at the World Economic Forum, it's not in the best way, but they're talking about crypto a lot, which makes you bullish, especially after the FTX hearings and after so many people are concerned about crypto. That should put some green lights on. In terms of dollar cost averaging, I'm always a big advocate of dollar cost averaging, especially if you're not as cool as Jayson, looking at the charts all the time. Dollar cost averaging might be a good way. A lot of people could buy $20 of Bitcoin, for example, every Friday. It's a good way to get into this space. And at the end of the day, your dollar cost averaging, not because exactly number go up, but because you want money that belongs to you. And that's the fundamentals of this space versus the pumpamentals, which we always have to keep in mind, the revolution, and that Bitcoin is money that belongs to you and being your own bank. That's why we're here.
Love that. A couple things there, Jayson. You're cool already. It's not because the TA, it's other things. It's it's the chickens. It's the drawings. It's all the things there, Jayson. It's actually the metal band. It's the metal band. If I were going to be honest there. All right, great stuff there. Now, Joe, you're kind of hearing things from all sides here. We're hearing some TA, and then we're hearing 4-year macro outlooks. What are you banking on more, though? Are you looking at the 4-year cycles, more weight, or are you looking at the price action? Hey, we're under 22. It's relatively attractive. What's making Joe's needle move here?
Well, thanks for having me back on the show, DZ. Smash up the like button. We got some green in the market. Feels good. But here's what I'm banking on, DZ. I got a great answer for this. So is the bottom in? Look, nobody knows for sure. But there's 2 things that you need to pay attention to in cryptocurrency. 2 words. It's greed and it's fear. So if you want to try your best to time the markets, pay attention to greed and fear. That's why in the last couple of months, when things were very, very fearful, everyone was saying we're going to 10,000, we're going to 8,000. The worst case scenario, it's going to 5,000. Everyone was saying this, and I would say a majority of people were saying this. That's very fearful, right? That's telling you that we're probably closer to a bottom than a top, right? Now, last year, 2021, everything was going up to the right. Bitcoin going to 100,000. It's happening for sure. All this adoption, ETF, all of those. Everyone and their mother was throwing things at altcoins. They were flying. Those are some indicators that, like, hey, look, maybe we should take a step back here and assess what's going on. And so, look, I think that I am big on macro. I think that it's important to understand that. But I'm definitely more in the camp of the 4-year cycle, 100%. Why? Because if you look at what you just shared in our tweet, DZ, or your tweet, should I say, it's been so spookily accurate within a week or 2 or 10 days. It's like, how can you ignore that? And the crazy thing is people say to me, well, Joe, if everyone knows this now, the cat's out of the bag, then isn't the market going to do something different? No, here's why. People just do the same things over and over again. It's so crazy to me, but they do. It's that greed and it's that fear. They do the same things, make the same mistakes, and it's ultimately
the price will actually talk you out of being right. I remember, I made that prediction a year in advance. My actual thesis was the Wednesday before Thanksgiving. That's going to be the top. It fits with the 4-year cycle. Ended up being around the 15th. I think Thanksgiving was like the 22nd. So I was off by less than 2 weeks there. June and July of that year, though, when Bitcoin hit 28.5, 29, I was convinced I was wrong. Totally gave up my whole thesis statement. And then, one green candle. And I'm like, hey, it's back on November. So, yeah, don't let your emotions dictate how you trade Bitcoin or when you buy, when you sell. But trading off of fear and greed, honestly, a great strategy. If you just want to do that, you're going to do okay if you stick with the main assets there. All right, let's talk altcoins. Some of you at home, type in what your favorite altcoin is, what you think is going to have the next run over the next 24 months, because altcoins have been up on the move lately. What hasn't hit yet? Maybe let us know. I pulled up, this is just the 7-day gainers here. Mana, the Metaverse project, up 75%. We have Helium up 60%. Convex Compound up both above 40%. Solana up above 40%, Optimism, Avalanche 37%, 41%, Sand, another metaverse pump, huge pumps. But this isn't all. This is Joe's Twitter here. This is Joe's crypto bubbles. Joe, you had a really good day that day. I'm gonna throw it back to you. You see this, you see 30% 24-hour, 50%, 20%, almost everything's 10%. Are you feeling greed and are you selling? What's the Joe strategy? I mean, is it too early in the run? Oh, you see these bubbles, you wake up. What's the move?
Yeah, I mean, it really depends on your time horizon, right? I wear the hoodie, just hodl it, because, my strategy is I'm in it for the long run, even with these altcoins. Altcoins, what you have to understand is that the volatility is just higher. So if you don't want the risk and you don't want the volatility, then altcoins aren't for you. My channel's not for you. If you want those 100x's, those 1000x's, those crazy gains, DZ, like those crypto bubbles you just showed on our Twitter, then my channel and everything is definitely for you. But here's what I'll say about altcoins. If you can find the right altcoin at the right time, and it's not easy to do, right? 9 out of every 10 of them will fail. And that's just the truth of the nature of the game. But if you can find one altcoin, it can change your life. And I know this because I did it myself. I ended up investing $10,000. It turned into $500,000 within a matter of minutes, literally. I couldn't even believe it was happening. It happened. And then it went all the way down to 200,000. I was like, oh my gosh, what is going on? Finally peaked off at like 250, somewhere around there. And then I took the profits out of there because I'm like, all right, this could be potentially life-changing money. And then I rolled that into other altcoins and just continue to build a, bankroll, I guess you want to call it, or a portfolio from there that's now over 7 figures. And so that to me is kind of like just me sharing my story. But altcoins are the real deal, but they're high risk, high reward. You have to know what you're getting into. You're swimming at the deep end of the pool here with these things. And so if your coin did pump 100, 200%, which you can see in altcoins, that's not uncommon, right? In the traditional markets, that's like absurd, right? So people are probably mashing that sell button. But we were talking before the show. There's been a coin that's up 200-300%. It just keeps running. You're just like, man. So I will say, I'll wrap this up because I'm going a little long. But I will say this: one strategy that I think is very helpful if you're going to get to the high risk game. Maybe you take, like, let's just say, for example, $1,000. It triples, right? Maybe you take your 1,000 off the table. Then you got free crypto. I love that. I have a ton of this free crypto sitting around that I'm just waiting for it to pump. And then, you don't have any, you're not sweating it. You're not freaking out. And if it does go to the moon, that's where you can make some life-changing gains.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm glad you talked about strategies and tips there. Jayson, I want to ask you about just any kind of template rules that you just kind of apply, blanket statements for altcoins. First, is it easier or harder to trade given certain levels? Is the price memory harder for altcoins, because maybe smaller market cap, or does it not listen to the same rules of these larger cryptocurrencies like a Bitcoin, like an Ethereum? What's your strategy? Do you tighter stop losses, or it's just willy-nilly? Is it the ranch, just things going wild and ride it to the horizon?
Yeah, well, there's 2 things you wanna look at. If you're gonna be trading altcoins, like day trading or margin trading them, you wanna look for volume and volatility. You wanna see what had the biggest percent move, and you wanna see what had the most volume come through if you're looking for a good coin to trade. Because if you have volume and volatility, it is going to respect the levels, right? And Market Cipher B is gonna give you some really good signals there. And I think that we could have an altcoin season coming up very soon. I want to look at the coin Ethereum chart real quick here, because this is very interesting, right? We got a cup and handle, Sammy Cup and Handy. Shout out to Crypto Lifer, Foreman right here. And notice this at the top of the bull market in May 2021. This is when we actually started forming the handle of this cup and handle. Okay. Now the bottom of the cup and handle happened pretty much in the spring of 2020, right? So the beginning of the bull market was the bottom of this cup and handle, right around the time we started printing that 1 month green dot on the monthly. That happened right around this area. So a few months later, we actually bottomed out in the ETH Bitcoin pair. Now, the reason why this is so significant is because I use the ETH Bitcoin chart to actually tell me when altcoin season is coming. And if we start to break this, if we break this resistance, we're actually looking now to hit that all-time high that we had back in 2017, where one Ethereum could be worth about 0.15 Bitcoins. And here's something else that's very interesting. I don't know if you've probably come across this, but it's the altcoin season index right here on blockchaincenter.net. And basically, whenever it comes down below 20, that is basically telling you when we are going to enter into altcoin season. And so as far as like hodling altcoins and getting into altcoins, I know a lot of people are feeling like the FOMO right now, and it's never a good idea to FOMO into an asset after a huge pump. But if you have some coins that you're like, that you believe in, that you believe they're going to pump in the next cycle, keep an eye on this, because you can go back and look at every time we come down into like that 20 zone. This is where Bitcoin starts to kind of pump a lot, and the altcoins are kind of just chilling out down here. And then once Bitcoin starts to range, the altcoins really pump. So keep an eye on the ETH Bitcoin chart. If this thing starts to break out, we start to break above like a 0.08 or like 80,000 Satoshis, we could see a lot of altcoins really pump. And if Bitcoin, I think Bitcoin, honestly, I'm super bullish. If we start to consolidate, like if we hit 30K and start to range and we don't lose like 23K again, I think we'll see some altcoins really start to moon. And that's the kind of thing where you can put some Bitcoin into your altcoins if we get confirmations like breakouts on the Bitcoin ETH pair, and then switch them back into Bitcoin. That's pretty much what I do. I stack my Satoshis. Not that I'm a maximalist or anything, but I just like Bitcoin, you know?
Well, it's
I
like our
enjoy the
buddy
feeling of it.
Crypto Face says, you know, you're not going to get rich buying and holding Bitcoin like an idiot. That's his words. But, you know, I do think it's a sound investment, but there's definitely good opportunity with some alts. And according to that chart, it appears like a good time for me. I know I'm scaling into some alts. All right, Caleb, I said I'd pull up your Twitter here. This is just a tweet from 6 hours ago. I was pounding the table about the signal from the 2-year yield in February, so I'm well aware of the signal we're getting from the 2-year right now. I think the 3M yield is likely to provide a more meaningful signal at this stage of the cycle. Here you're talking about the divergence between the 2-year. That's what I'm talking about. Now, I see a Twitter like that. I'm like, this guy doesn't touch an alt with a 10-foot pole. Maybe Ethereum, maybe like one or two other ones. What are your thoughts about altcoins? Are they too risky for you? Are you just, you know, maybe top 5 coin type of guy? What's your strategy when it goes to the 500 to 1500 market cap range?
Yeah, I wouldn't touch anything 500 to 1500 market cap, but in 2022, I was definitely trading stuff like Avalanche, even Solana, Atom, things of that nature, right? So, you know, in a bull market, when ETH is outperforming BTC, we expect to see these altcoins perform much stronger, right? And so, me coming
am
from
I hearing
traditional
correctly?
markets,
Are you a fan of L1s in this space? Is that where you maybe see some good gains?
yeah, I mean, the way I technically view L1s is betting on really smart people building really great use cases at some point in the future. In a lot of ways, it is gambling, but you know, it's look, I'm fundamentally super optimistic and bullish on Bitcoin, right? And so you can't ignore the fact that there's an extremely tight correlation between Bitcoin and something like total 3, right? Which is basically crypto market cap excluding Bitcoin and Ethereum. So if Bitcoin is going to go up X%, we would expect to see alts go up some magnitude of, you know, maybe 2 or 3 X%. And so, you know, we can't ignore that fundamentally, but am I going to want to keep my money in those assets for the long term? Probably not, right? And so I was on a show last week and I highlighted 3 really great risk reward trades in Solana, in Atom, and then in Polygon/Matic, right? And so those did really well. But when I look at the market right now, I don't see a lot of upside in terms of risk reward. The reason why I highlighted those 3 at the time is because I had really clear risk reward parameters, right? So maybe I was willing to risk losing between 7 and 10% on the trade, but with the opportunity to make between 70 to 100%. And so, I mean, the risk reward there is massive multiples. And so for me, as someone who has the opportunity to sit in front of my computer all day and potentially trade or look at markets or manage risk, those are exactly the type of setups that I want to take. As Bitcoin kind of continues to hover here at 23,000, I still own all my Bitcoin. I don't own anything else. And we'll see where the market takes us. But at this point in the cycle, right, the indicators that I look at, looking at something like the 200-week exponential and simple moving average, looking at the 12-month Williams %R oscillator, we don't have confirmation yet that we're in a birth of a new bull market. So I'm not really willing to move further out onto the risk curve and mess around with different altcoins at this point. But potentially in the near future, I might be willing to take a look.
I briefly mentioned it. Have you seen the potential Golden Cross might happen, you know, maybe 2-3 weeks? Have you seen that data? Maybe check that out.
Is that the 50 and the 200?
200. Yeah, it looks like it's poised for a crossing. Now, obviously, we don't know what's going to happen over the next 2-3 weeks. But yeah, maybe something to check out, Caleb and Jayson. You might want to look at that. All right, Miss Teen Crypto, you know, he named some good L1s there. I want to ask you, what's a good sector for altcoins that you still think could have some good potential? we have L2s, we have DeFi, we have gaming, we have AI. There's multiple different areas of the crypto space that could still have a huge pump here. What's the area that you find attractive?
I find all areas attractive. And the reason being is that we had a very nice clean out in 2022 of projects that everyone was claiming was building. This is going to be the next big thing. And then the bear market hit, and you saw who was really building. I thought we saw a clean sweep in probably all sectors of the DeFi space, gaming space. I'm extremely bullish on gaming just because I think it's a great catalyst for crypto adoption overall. Everyone's a gamer at some capacity, whether you're doing like, crossword puzzles in the newspaper, Sudoku on your phone, playing solitaire. All of that fits somebody, right? And I think gaming could take a place for everybody, especially for Gen Z. We've been buying digital assets our whole lives, whether that's skins in a game, digital coins that we're spending within games. I think extremely good things are going to come out of gaming. DeFi, I think, is great. And even just simple things. I think Ethereum is going to do good. Litecoin, I'm a big fan of as well. If you guys have been watching, the whale alerts for Litecoin, you would be like, wow. But I do think things like that are extremely important. So I would go from the basics like Bitcoin, Litecoin, Ethereum, things in DeFi. Gaming is extremely important. So I think I would go for all of those.
Let me share this about Litecoin. I'm glad you actually kind of brought that up. If you
Oh,
look
I have
at
some stats today too.
if you
on
look at the
Litecoin.
7-day action, Solana 40%, Polkadot 20%, you're going to see basically everything in the teens or higher. Some 50%, some even higher. Litecoin, one of the few coins under 10%. Maybe there's some arbitrage there. Maybe look at Litecoin, Bitcoin pairs.
Let me
Miss
tell
Teen,
you,
any alpha? Go
DZ.
ahead.
Yeah, I think, Litecoin's extremely important. And if you actually look, the total addresses for Litecoin actually surpassed Ethereum today. So I would definitely take note of that. A ton of people are coming into Litecoin. You look at things like BitPay, 25%, I believe, or maybe even more of the crypto that's being spent is Litecoin. I would definitely look into MWeb technology that is huge, OmniLite, which is huge. And if you look at a whale alert, like I was referring to, this is the second time I've seen it over the past few days where 1 million plus Litecoin, that's over $91 million, was sent to one address from multiple addresses. This is not the first time I've seen this. 84 million Litecoin to ever be in existence, and just over 1 million of those put into one wallet. I would definitely watch out for what's going on with Litecoin.
Yeah, fun fact, if you don't know, Litecoin is a 4-to-1 ratio. They call it the silver to Bitcoin's gold. Some say it's the rusted linoleum, but that's not my opinion. That's what other people say. They say it's the rusted metal. It's 10. It's the 10 to Bitcoin's platinum. All right, now, Caleb, real quick, I do want to say, do you have a head of hair? Because I think me and Joe, we like these micro caps. We don't like sleep, man. We don't like sleep. I want to be up sweating 2 a.m. wondering if I lost 90% in one candle. But I just wanted to share that. I was like, he's got that. It's Jayson. He has that good life balance, that work-life balance. I'm still working on that. All right. And that previous segment brought to you by BC Vault. Make sure you check out bcvault.com. If you can crack it, you get a free Bitcoin. And now, next section brought to you by presend.io. You can send crypto securely as presend.io. All right, let's talk about Dookie. No, we're not talking about, weird ways of powering vehicles in the future. We're not talking about what we want to throw at the Davos elite. We're talking about Dookie Dash from the Bored Ape Yacht Club. Here is the logo. You can see, you can maybe use your imagination for what this might mean in the name Dookie Dash. But it's a game exclusive to the Bored Ape and the Mutant Ape holders. The pass hits tonight. Once you get that pass, you then have, I believe, 3 weeks to play a game to basically activate the NFT. And then at that point, it is going to transform into something related to energy. It's an NFT project. They're being coy. They're keeping it mysterious here. But ApeCoin staking is still going on. ApeCoin still being emitted every day. There's daily rewards dropping. Caleb, we're talking about alts. There's a lot of alts you wouldn't touch with a 50-foot pole. What are your thoughts about Yuga, Ape, and this current execution of this NFT? I mean, are you seeing, are they hitting all the stops the right way here?
This is a little bit out of my remit. I did do some dunking on Bored Ape Yacht Club several months back, talking about kind of community dynamics. But it's interesting at least to see that the ApeCoin, whatever it's actually officially called, is basically up almost 90% from those November lows. And so this is very reminiscent to the market dynamics that happened in June through August when this same exact coin pumped about 150%. And so, maybe there's a little bit more upside here, but the kind of explosive dynamic that we're seeing here, this kind of stair-step behavior, we've seen this before. It's trading just beneath $5. I'm not necessarily, going to be dipping my toes into this per se. I guess that's up to each individual investor. But when I look at, when I look at this chart, I don't necessarily see anything that's jumping off the table to me like this is a bullish dynamic taking place, even though, like I said, it's just gone up basically 88% in the last, 2 months.
All right, so flushing that one down the toilet there. Jayson, is Altcoin something that you trade? Do you not stay away, or you stay away from that one? Because I know he's referring to the other deeds mint ripped to $27. I think it's been as low, it's been below $5 very recently. And to his point, 88% rip. But this is Altcoin. There's a utility for Ape. You can, I think it's 2 Ape at a time. You can kind of power up your Dookie Dasher. Maybe, I don't know, maybe you leave more skid marks. I don't know what the power-ups are going to do, but there's potential burning mechanisms going to happen here. Is this something you would consider trading, or is it too volatile for even Jayson?
No, actually, DZ, Altcoin is one of those coins that we've actually been trading in the Casper Crew Discord because it's had a lot of volume and it's had a lot of volatility. And actually, if we take a look at the chart right here, we can see a few things that are very interesting. First of all, we formed this falling wedge pattern here with a deviation below, and then we got to move back up into the wedge. This is actually a pattern that I'm familiar with. When we are forming a wedge, then we lose it and we come back in. It's actually a very bullish pattern. Then we get a perfect retest from the golden pocket. And when we came down to the low, we did get some very bullish divergences here. And the target of the wedge is actually coming up to this value area high at around $6.49. And we're currently holding the high volume node as support. We can see money flow is getting pretty thick. And so actually right now, Altcoin is one of those coins where I actually think it's a good one to trade because it's getting a lot of volume. Honestly, the next trade I would be looking to take on it would be a short trade as we're coming up to these key areas of resistance here, the golden pocket and the value area high of the range. But the key level for me right now is $7.81 because that's actually a very important order block on the chart. And if we can reclaim that order block, I don't see why we couldn't get a move up to the macro golden pocket around $18. Of course, I'm not telling anybody to long the coin right now. I'm just saying that historically speaking, the TA for this coin is very, very well respected. This pocket long right respected. Each one of these pivots have been key levels. And again, there is a lot of volume that comes through here on Bybit. This is the Binance chart. But I understand they've got some kind of crappy new thing coming out. Perhaps that'll give us a push we need up to this next area of resistance here. So will be kind of interesting to see.
All right, you might want to follow Jayson and join that Discord and hang out. What do you call your community over there?
Casper Crew.
The Casper Crew. You got to join the Casper Crew. All right, now Miss Teen Crypto, you're very familiar with NFT gaming. What do you think of their rollout? They kind of have this strategy where if you play the game and you're successful or you're good at the game, you kind of get rewarded more than just the guy who plays the game and isn't good at it. Is this a good strategy, or is this going to lead to some feel bad? And what do you think of their execution? Did they hit the mark here? I was going to say something not good.
It's okay, DZ. I think either way, it's okay. I think that you should have to grind in a game to earn rewards. I think skill level, you should eventually work your way up in a game. I think that's any game. Any game really has levels. You work your way up. There's difficulty throughout the way. I mean, that's life. Life isn't easy. At the same time, I do think they should reward people for example, getting onto the game. I think a lot of NFT games kind of miss out on some key opportunities to just give people free stuff, right? For someone just simply signing up, give them an NFT. Say, hey, this is your new character. This is an NFT. You complete a tutorial, you get more Altcoin, or you get an NFT. So I do think there's a little give and take with it. At the same time, I'm still waiting for, I think the other side was what it was called. There was a play test, 4,500 people. I really haven't heard of anything since then. Now this new game, I believe it's only open to Bored Ape Yacht Club members at the start. And then from there, anyone else could get involved if they give you a pass. So that is a little iffy to me too. I feel as though if you're going to do a game, maybe give it to everybody. Let everyone get involved and expand your community. But at the same time, they do want to hold Bored Ape Yacht Club holders as priority, being that if they do sell their assets, they do sell their ape coin, that's more money for Bored Ape Yacht Club from its already existing strong community. So I do see the give and take with both.
Yeah, and it's given out as 30,000 Bored Ape and the Mutant Ape. Currently, you know, I am a Mutant Ape holder. I am going to get a pass. I am not going to sell it. I am going to play with my Dookie Dash, and you know, maybe I'm gonna dive into this ecosystem, and hopefully I don't get wiped out. Joe, let's plop on over to your neck of the woods here. What do you think of this rollout of Yuga? Are they knocking this out of the park? You know, do they hit or miss with the branding involving a hairy monkey's butt? I'm just gonna say it. Was that too much, or you know, is it perfectly in line with the DGen community?
I mean, for me personally, I think it's too much. But like, if for the degens and everything, like, I don't know. I watched the video. There's a 4-minute video on Twitter. If people are interested in watching it, definitely give it a watch because it does explain decently like what they're trying to do. And what I will say about what they're trying to do is it's very nuanced. So I would definitely watch that video. There's like you get the mint pass, and then you get it's like so many different things that you need to do. And if you're a gamer and you like to game and you think that that's something that's fun and you like the like the challenge of doing that, then I think it's cool. But I mean, look, it's Bored Ape Yacht Club, right? So it's like it is their whole vibe, right? Like you go to their website, you go to the bathroom. So like it definitely you know, it's just one of those things that like, all right, it's definitely in line with their branding. The article that was sent to us for some reason didn't like it. I thought it was, you know, kind of crappy to say the least. But look, I mean, you cannot deny what Bored Ape Yacht Club has done. They're the #1 NFT project in my mind by far. And, you know, ApeCoin has, you know, stood in there. It's definitely gone down, but you know, you gotta remember that was airdropped to a lot of people. And because it was airdropped, they dumped it down to like $3. And now we can start to see some recovering. And so I think that there's something to this project. I think that the Bored Ape Yacht Club is here to stay for a while. Are the massive gains that you could have seen in it earlier gone? Potentially. But with these new projects and these new things, I like what they're doing. I like that they're stimulating the you know, the holders and giving back to their community, because if you hold one of these Bored Apes or the Mutant Apes, you get a new thing to play around with here. No fun.
Hey, now, all right, you talk about stimulating. All right. I see where
And
you're heading
also
there.
you could, oh,
Go ahead.
sorry. I was
Okay.
also going to say, what about the secondary sales that they're going to make from this? And even from other side, right? When that first came out, the sales went astronomical. And then all of a sudden, then the floor price slipped a little bit. Will we see the same this time? But either way, Bored Ape Yacht Club benefits because of the secondary sales. So that's what I'm interested in seeing. Will the floor price hold up? Will owners want to take, you know, responsibility, say, hey, I could make a quick buck here, sell it, their pass on OpenSea. And then again, Bored Ape Yacht Club got their royalties.
I
and then what do
expect
they do with their new funding?
Yeah, I expect to draw down 15-20% after the airdrop, after I'm able to claim. And then the pass, if you do plan on selling the pass, not financial advice. If I was going to sell it, I'd want to sell it within the first 24 hours. I feel like a lot of people might play the game, then get bored and sell it after 5 days, sell it after 7 days. Everybody's going to want to play day one. So if I were to sell, I would definitely want to sell in the first potentially even 20 minutes to a couple hours, watching the price action closely there. That would be my exit strategy if I was going to exit. But I'm the NFT alpha guy. I'm going to be in there in the sewers, you know, so don't try to flush the toilet on me. And, you know, I'll try not to climb up your pipes. All right. That is all we have time for today. To look like Jayson Casper ended up taking it home. It was a great episode. Make sure you hit that like button. I don't know where we're at right now, but I know we can crank that like button up. Jayson, feel free. Leave us with some parting thoughts, man.
Man, well, first of all, God bless everybody. Thank you for having me on, DZ, and thank you to everybody on the show. Some parting thoughts, guys. I would just say, you know, in times like this, people get super emotional when it comes to investing. I would say don't use emotions to get into any kind of investment, and just stick to your plan, and you'll be all right. Make sure to subscribe to Jayson Casper on YouTube. And yeah, thank you so much.
All right, follow, not only Jayson, follow all the channels here. They're all putting out fantastic content. Just stay calm and huddle on, and that's all we got time for today, Bit Squad. Till next time, DZ out.